This video will demonstrate how to create a DBL model. When you begin to create a decision model, first identify and create a task in your area of expertise or training. A task can take the form of a problem to be solved, a painting to be critiqued, or a poem to be analyzed. It can be anything you want your students to break down and determine the appropriate course of action. We will use a basic statistics course as an example for this video. Here is a problem in the assignment where students are meant to identify the correct statistical method they would use to analyze the question. Pause the video and locate or create a task, problem, or scenario. Once you have either located or created a scenario or task here, make a list of questions that you would ask yourself when analyzing this problem. Here are the questions that may come to mind upon analyzing our example statistics problem. Depending on the scenario, this list could also include actions you might take after asking yourself said questions. In this example, one of the actions would be performing a calculation. Calculate the skew. It is not necessary for conceptual understanding, however, since the calculation is part of the process the instructor is teaching the student, the model includes it. Pause the video and look at your scenario or task and list all the questions you ask yourself when analyzing it. Once you have your questions, note that this is your initial draft. You may take some of these away, add to them, or modify them. Pause the video and modify any questions you may need to. Next, decide what order to put the list of questions in. For some of the questions, it doesn't matter what order you place them in. In this statistics example, you could determine what the independent variable is before the dependent variable, or vice versa. In other cases, however, the order is necessary. For our statistics example, it is best to determine first if the question is descriptive or inferential before analyzing further. Pause the video and order your questions. Once your questions are in order, you can start to create options for your students to choose from for each question. In our statistics example, the first question asks whether the question is descriptive or inferential. So the options the students have to choose from would simply be descriptive or inferential. Our next question will also be easy to identify the options since the three options are listed in the question. However, the next question will be different. What is the nature of the data? The options are not listed obviously in this question. There are three types of data we want our students to consider: scaled data, ordinal data, nominal data. So these will be our options. Continue to determine the options you want the students to choose from for each question you have listed until you have reached the end. In some instances, there can be an infinite number of options. When this is the case, put letters A, B, C, etc. Pause the video and create your options. After you have determined the different options, highlight the correct options that should be chosen at each decision point. We will only focus on these for the moment. Pause the video and highlight the correct options for the scenario or task you created. Once you've identified your questions and options, you can open the software at decisionbasedlearning.com. Sign in with your BYU email, netid@byu.edu, and password to begin creating your decision model. Give your learning model a name and description. Click the Problem tab followed by Create Problem, and paste the problem you originally decided to use into the text box at the top of the screen. Now you may begin to set up your model. We will refer to our outline to know which question will come first. In this case, is the question descriptive or inferential? Click New Decision and paste the text of your first question from the Word document into the decision point. Next, we can add the options that correspond with the question: descriptive and inferential. Pause the video and begin creating your model. In our example, the second question in our list is this research comparing means, correlating variables, or determining fit between claim and reality? Click on the correct option for the problem you have in the text box above. In this case, we will click Inferential. A button labeled New Decision will appear. Click the button and paste the second question in your list you have written down. Here we add our 3 options: comparing means, correlating variables, and fit between claim and reality. Pause the video and create your second decision point with its corresponding options. Click on the correct option for the problem in the text box above, and repeat this process until you reach the last decision point and options that will answer the original problem you have in the text box. In this case, the correct statistical method. The options are single sample t-test, independent sample t-test, and one-way ANOVA. The correct option for this scenario is one-way ANOVA. After that option, we will add one more decision point, and instead of putting a question in it, we will put "click here to see how you did." This last decision point will allow you to make a complete decision path for this problem. After saving this last decision point, click on it again and a gray checkbox labeled Done will appear next to it. Click Done and name the decision path you have just created for this model. Create a new problem which follows a different path using the same model. Giving students multiple problems using the same model will help them learn how to do these steps until they are second nature. If you have specific questions on how to create a decision model, refer to the step-by-step videos provided to you by your Center for Teaching and Learning consultant.